Hello, everybody. This is Joe Baez with CLA here in Chicago in our private equity practice. Joining me today is Tom Bohn from ACG Global. Tom, how are you doing today?
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Looks like you're in quarantine there and safe with your family.
Yeah, it's funny, when we first chatted about doing this, it was going to be in person and give you a platform to introduce yourself to the world and maybe what was new at ACG Global, but obviously times have changed a little bit since then.
Everything's changed. Luckily, there are these new technologies, or at least that they're not absolutely new, but kind of newer for some of us. But at least it allows us to do things like this without being live there in Chicago. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. So, I just wanted to give you kind of a few questions lined up here, but we can see where this goes. Given the current situation, the first question I was going to ask was just kind of how has ACG responded to the COVID-19 situation, and maybe give you a little platform to update us on what you've done.
Yeah, well, so I think there's two pieces. There's the ACG and our members and everything that's happening kind of in that middle market world that's so important to us. And then there's ACG, the organization, and kind of those two different things. But we've been really active out there, kind of working on the advocacy front, trying to make sure that private equity or those that have affiliate backing, majority affiliate backing, are included in legislation. Unfortunately, we didn't get it in this last one, but the door is not completely shut. So we're working both grassroots on the Hill in D.C. with some of our partners, and are hoping to get some momentum. It's been pretty challenging. Luckily, private equity portfolio companies, family office backed, regardless of what it is, they're usually pretty resilient. They did well after 2008, but this is a little different. Times are different, and if money's not coming in at all, then things are just as bad for them. It's not as much of a banking liquidity situation. It's actually a shutdown in the entire economic engine. So we're watching that, we're staying with it, and we're keeping folks informed where it's going. For us as an association, we're lucky. We're very liquid. We extended our lines of credit. We did some other things that we wanted to make sure that we were going to be okay here in the coming months. Our largest event was canceled, Intergrowth, which I know you know about. So 3,000 plus of our closest friends were going to descend on Vegas here in a couple weeks. That was canceled in a force majeure clause. Luckily, we were insured, and our insurance policy was really good. So that's helping out a bit. But I know a lot of associations weren't as lucky, and they're really struggling with the ramifications of this, and particularly the cash implications of this.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, we work with a lot of associations as well, so just kind of feeling it on the front lines there. So you mentioned Intergrowth. I did want to ask a little bit about that. Obviously, that's not happening, at least in April, maybe not this year. Maybe update us on if there's anything kind of set up to replace that, or what's ACG thinking about doing?
Yeah, well, there's no way to truly completely replace kind of that in-person interaction, deal-making community that happens. So we decided to kind of move forward to plan for 2021, but we're also doing a lot of things in terms of meet and greets and meetups, kind of like this, setting up conversations, setting up deals like this, deal flow this way. We're doing a lot of webinars. Obviously, you all are doing a lot of webinars, doing a lot of stuff through social media to make sure that our members are informed of the latest and what's going on. With our 52 chapters each week, we're holding a number of different conference calls to kind of talk through best practices. How do you manage this? How do you lead through this? Which has been a really good outlet for them, and certainly a good way for us to support them and help them in any way that we possibly can. But we also launched Growth TV, which is kind of an online television channel, which was going to be live from places like chapter events and Intergrowth and stuff like that. And now it's not live. Now we're doing it like this. I've had Congress interviews with Congress people, with CEOs and others, and that's been helpful. People have really responded well to that, and really just talking about how are you dealing with all this right now? What does the middle market look right now? How are you pivoting right now? And that's been good. So we're shifting, our magazine, which has been very popular over the last couple of years. We've put more and more resources into that. But our entire team is working remotely, just as you all are, and that's been interesting. But we're doing well. We're excited.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. What are you hearing from your members? Kind of what are they doing with their company as it relates to the shutdown?
So I think it kind of bifurcated here, and I think for the short term, everyone feels confident they can weather this and get through this, and hopefully things will come back around here by June or June-ish is what everyone's thinking. I think the uncertainty and the fear is really, does it go beyond that? And then what does that look like? And how do we manage through that point? But I think most of them feel confident, yes, we can weather this, we could do this. And, for ACG, the Association for Corporate Growth, while about a third of our members are private equity, family office, the like, there's also a large contingent who are just middle market companies, middle market CFOs, CEOs. So they're able to utilize the benefits that are out there and happening in the CARES Act 2 bill. But, if you look at companies like Tito's Handmade Vodka, a middle market company with equity backing, I mean, there's someone who now pivoted to making hand sanitizer. So we're hearing that time and time again from our members is what are they doing differently? How are they doing it? And how are they going to prepare if it's longer than just a few months that we're hoping it is right now?
Yeah. So maybe we can pivot a little bit now. I think, I don't know about you, but I'm a little tired of hearing about COVID-19 and would like to focus maybe on a little something different, at least for a couple of minutes here. So maybe, we can get back to what the original purpose of this meeting was supposed to be and let you introduce to yourself a little bit and maybe what you're thinking about changes for ACG Global, if there are changes that are coming, both kind of short term and maybe down the road.
Yeah. So ACG, we're made up about 15,000 members who are all in the kind of middle market deal making community, mergers, acquisitions. So private equity professionals, family office professionals, middle market professionals, and then obviously all of the consultants like CLA and others who support them, whether they're through deal transactions or just general advice and counsel. But we are working very hard right now to really make sure that ACG is an important voice, not only during this time, but any time, and getting out the information in the fastest form we can. We're about to invest a lot more into our digital platforms. That was already planned. So a new AMS system, association management system, CRM systems, new websites. We're actually working on a plan right now to take Intergrowth and create the Intergrowth experience, or the experience that the chapters have week in and week out of live events, and creating kind of an online digital version of that. So kind of digital dating, if you will, for the deal making market. And we've made quite a lot of progress in that effort. That's moving along. We're also expanding our media platforms. Our Middle Market Growth magazine will go from 6 to 10 issues. We created Growth TV, I mentioned earlier, which will be an online channel that'll constantly be bringing the latest information to the table in terms of what we're doing. And then we're really working on just general storytelling of what the middle market is, what private equity is, what it is that what do we do? Because there's so much misinformation out there, and we're seeing that now, particularly with this CARES Act. Is that people assume that all this money's floating around for private equity and it's there for the taking. That's simply not accurate. I mean, when deals are made, money's put into businesses and that money's carved out for that purpose, and they still have the same rigorous day-to-day needs that any other business has. Same opportunities to balance the needs and to make sure that the cash flow is there. So we're really working on kind of what we call myth busting. As it relates to that whole world that we're in. So that's going to be a big push for us here coming, regardless of this. Part of me says I wish this would have happened 3-4 months from now, because a lot of the things that we were working on, in the middle of working on, would have helped greatly. But no one gets that opportunity, and here we are. So we're just having to move much quicker than we were ever moving, and we were moving pretty darn quick before.
Sure. I think a lot of people can relate to that right now.
Absolutely.
Well, good. Well, hey, Tom, again, I really appreciate your time. Hopefully next time we do this, it'll be in person and we can get together in Chicago.
Absolutely. Thank you for all CLA is doing out there, sharing, informing, and staying in touch with your employees. Look forward to seeing you all, and please be safe. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom.